Hey guys, welcome back to the Red Briefing, the channel that's all about calling out the straight-up hypocrisy on the left. All right, we've got another Nick Shirley alert, and yeah, I think it's definitely worth talking about right now. You know, the whole conversation around Democrat-linked election fraud kind of faded a bit after the initial hype, right? I don't think anything's going to top that insane virality Nick got from his first Minnesota video drop. What was it? Like over 115 million impressions on X in the first week alone? We're talking billions across all platforms. Crazy numbers. But now he's shifted focus to California, and his latest expose is still blowing up. It just needs a bigger push, honestly. So that's what this video is for. A little signal boost for what Nick's uncovering. Let's dive into the latest from him. The stuff that's got Gavin Newsom ducking for cover, basically running to mommy on this one. Stick around, we've got some wild clips and details to break down. So, Nick just dropped this 22-minute video. Obviously, we're not watching the full thing here, but I'll pull together the juiciest parts so we can react and talk through it. Check this out.
Curious, how come in California you don't need voter ID to vote?
Because when you sign your affidavit, you're swearing that you're telling us the truth, and we compare the signature that you put on your application to the
battery 65%.
Do you think it leaves any room for error with voter ID, or?
Not really.
And do you think it's possible like illegal migrants could be voting?
Not really. How? I mean, what's showing the ID?
Yeah, if they don't have their ID and they could just sign on behalf of Richard Sherman, then they could technically vote, right?
They would be right.
So instead of showing your ID, you sign your signature and then it is scanned to verify it is you. So technically speaking, anyone could show up saying they are someone, and if the signature is similar, that vote will then count. And with millions of people voting, it leaves room for fraud to occur. Just take these two examples.
A Southern California woman is facing 5 felonies after registering her dog to vote in 2 elections. The dog's vote was even counted in one of those elections. Those behind the stunt say she did it to show the flaws of the current system.
Hundreds of people who cast votes according to state records, but we found they've been dead for years. Including a woman who died in 1988, and records show she somehow voted in 2014, 26 years after she passed away. Then there's Julita Abutin. Records show she voted in Norwalk in 2014, 2012, 2010, and 2008. The only problem is she's buried here at Forest Lawn. Abutin died in 2006. Is it possible your mother voted in 2014?
There's no way.
Abutin's daughter Maravik says it's certainly impossible that her mother voted, but the LA County Registrar confirms they have signed vote-by-mail envelopes with her mother's name for the 2014 and 2012 election, even though she died 10 years ago.
So how bad is the voter fraud here in California?
Well, we actually don't know because law enforcement isn't really investigating it, and we don't have people qualified to actually figure that out.
And what kind of fraud is taking place?
Well, we have voter rolls of about 22 to 23 million people in California, and we have just in Orange County, per se, there's 60 to 70,000 changes a month that happens. So the amount of time and effort to go and follow up with every one of those, we just don't have the resources to do that.
Where's the first place we're going?
We're going to the local retirement community, and the reason this one is just kind of particularly odd, you got 45 people registered and 41 of them actually turned out to vote in the last election. So that's just, again, not typical for 55 to 70% turnout.
It looks like there was maybe 41 of 45 people that are registered here. Does that seem low or high to you? Like as far as how many patients or residents you have?
That's probably not accurate anymore.
It's some sort of institute for peace and justice, so it doesn't seem like you'd have a lot of voters like registered at some sort of an administrative office, but it very well could be, you know. I mean, there's students that are all over the place here, so maybe it's some sort of a central mailing house or something like that.
You have a conference room, you have Garden of the Sky, the Kroc School, classrooms, conference rooms, anything but dorms. And this is the location where 58 people are registered to vote here inside of the state of California.
Is this like a central mailing location, like this building for students and stuff?
No, this one is not. So we do have a mail center.
Because right here on the John B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice, it says we had 58 registered to vote, and 50 people voted from this location.
So is 5998 Alcala Park? You're saying
is the entire university.
Is the entire university. So where do the ballots go?
I have no clue. I have no.
Pretty eye-opening, right? This lines up with a lot of the same weird patterns we've seen in Georgia and other places. You've got crazy irregularities in voter numbers at single locations, like 30-plus people all registered to one random mail store or UPS spot. Just a ton of P.O. Box voters. Then there are voters supposedly listed as 125 years old. And the absolute bombshell. At some point, a woman actually registered her dog to vote. And it worked. Whew, yeah, something is seriously off here. But if you hop over to Democrat corners of social media, it's the usual full-on copium. Especially with the dog thing. They're all like, oh, this was discovered 6 months ago. The lady got arrested and charged. Move on. Nothing to see. Classic deflection. But hold up, that's missing the whole point, folks. The real question isn't, did she get caught? It's, how on earth did a dog get registered to vote in the first place? That's a massive red flag. If the system let that happen, even if it was caught later, it makes you wonder, who else is slipping through? Or what else is registering? The whole setup looks disorganized and full of holes. Dogs on the rolls, hundreds of people tied to rundown properties or commercial mailboxes, dead voters still active, all this chaos, and yet Democrats keep insisting everything's totally fine. Nothing to worry about. And if you even suggest basic voter integrity stuff, like showing ID, they hit you with the "that's racist" line. You have to be completely out of touch to look at these exposés, the Fulton County stuff, Nick's findings, and just shrug like it's normal. Meanwhile, the people asking for simple safeguards are the crazy ones? Come on. And speaking of how things have flipped, check out this old clip of Chuck Schumer. I think it's from the 1990s. Looks like it anyway. Just listen.
In fact, one way to prove you're a bona fide person who can have a job is to ask for a driver's license and a social security card. This is an anti-fraud amendment. Over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud.
Yeah. What changed? Back then, ID laws were necessary to fight fraud. Now they're suddenly Jim Crow 2.0 or whatever. It's obvious what shifted. Democrats seem way more okay with fraud these days. Or at least, they're fighting tooth and nail against anything that might stop it. Look at everything else they've done. Not just voter ID, but daycare fraud, home care fraud. They've battled hard to seal records, hide docs, create distractions, even shut down government ops to bury this stuff. It really feels like the Democrat establishment has some built-in incentive to keep fraud going. How else do you explain it? Especially when you see poll after poll showing over 80% of Americans and even over 70% of Democrats want voter ID, yet the party leadership keeps blocking it. Same old question. What are they actually hiding? For them to be this defensive, it has to be something huge. Anyway, that's the rundown for today. Huge thanks to Nick Shirley for keeping the pressure on. Appreciate you guys watching. Drop a like if you're with me on this, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay sharp out there. Peace.